Hello class, welcome to Unit 6.3B Systems of Equations, the elimination method. This is part 2. So just to reiterate the steps of the elimination method, we're going to want to use this when it is in standard form. So we'll have x plus y equals a number, and we want both of those equations to kind of have everything lined up. So if we're looking for steps, first thing is to make sure they are in standard form. If we have to solve to readjust, we can. And then secondly, we're going to be looking to convert and make sure one of the equations or one of the variables is going to eliminate itself. So this may end up, requiring you to multiply and distribute to, essentially force one of the variables to eliminate. Pick the easier one, x or y. Once you have one of those variables, lined up to eliminate, then we are going to add the left and right sides of the equation. So what we are going to have left is just one variable that we need to solve, and then we can use that to substitute back in and solve for the other variable. All right, so let's take a look at a few of those. In this first example, we have everything in standard form. And as we look at our x's and y's, we can see that those y's are going to already eliminate themselves. If this is the case, then all we need to do is add these two equations together. So now we have 3x, y minus y is 0, 19 plus 11 is 30, and then we can solve for x. So x is going to equal 10. Now we want to plug this back into one of the equations. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go to the bottom one. And then we can solve for y. So start by subtracting 10. That's going to equal 1. And then if we divide by -1, y is going to equal -1. So the answer we're looking for here is 10, -1. And we're good to go. And like I said, we can always kind of plug them back into the originals just to double check our work. All right, looking at this second one, the x's and y's. So nothing as is going to eliminate, so we need to multiply by something. And I'm going to look at the -6x, -6x, and actually both of them, kind of look pretty good. So what we're going to end up doing is multiplying one of these by a negative. So I'm just going to pick this bottom one, distribute. So now we're left with 6x plus, that's going to be minus 3y. So minus 3y and plus 12. Now I'm going to bring that other equation down just to kind of get those things side by side. Since I did kind of do that first one. But what we're going to look at here is add those together. 6 minus 6 is 0. -3 plus 6 is 3y. And 12 plus 6 is 18. So if we divide by 3, y equals 6. All right, plugging into these equations. Again, doesn't matter which one, so we'll just go into the top one. So 6 times 6 equals 6. So take a minute. That's going to be plus 36 equals 6. If we subtract 30 from both sides, that's a 36 from both sides. That is going to leave us with a -30. And then when we divide by -6, x equals 5. So our answer should be 6, 5. Okay, take a minute here to pause and solve these before we check our work. Again, taking a minute to, figure out which one's going to cancel before you go. All right, good luck. Okay, you can see in this first one, we're going to have to multiply one of these equations by a -1 in order for these to cancel out our y's. So make sure you do that as you solve. Just double check your work. Looks like our x's cancel pretty naturally here. Down here in the bottom, looks like our y's are going to cancel without having to do too much work. And then the last one we want to kind of look at here, pay special attention to, is, okay, we're going to multiply by a negative. And then what we see happen here is our two numbers, or both of our variables, cancel. Well, does 0 equal -3? And no, it does not. So this is going to take us back to one of our specials, that no solution. 0 does not equal -3. So that's going to tell us that these two lines are parallel. All right, let's take a look at some more. Okay, example 2, elimination. So in these examples, when we look at these and start looking at x, 2 does not go into 5, so that's not going to be very helpful. But if we have that -y and -2, we can have those y's cancel pretty easily by multiplying everything up here by -2. Basically, because we know that when we do -2 times y, that's going to be a plus 2y. Now, everything else needs to be distributed as well. So that way we have, 4x plus 2y equals 18. And then what that's going to do is now we're set up to eliminate. So add those two together. Gets us 36. Divide by 9. And x is equal to 4. Okay, once x is equal to 4, plug it back in. That first equation looks a little bit easier. So if we plug all that in, that's a 4 minus y equals -9. So that's really -8 minus y equals -9. If we add 8, all right, now we have -y equals -1. And if we divide by -1, y equals 1. So our answer is 4, 1. All right, when we look at this next example, doesn't look like anything has a great option. We got the -7, -4, that's no good. We got -8 and 9, that doesn't look too good. The only thing I'm going to say here is we do see that the y's have a plus and a minus, which that might be a little bit easier, just because if we multiply this one by 9, we can multiply the bottom by 8, and we don't have to multiply by any negatives because they're already, they're already going to cancel. So let's just take a minute to distribute. We got -63x minus 72y equals 81. And then we got this guy. So we're going to get -32x plus 72y equals. And when we get to add these together, that's going to give us a -95x. All that's going to cancel. That's going to leave this as -95. And that's going to allow us to solve for x. Divide by -95. And x is going to equal 1. All right, so again, now we're kind of back to, let's just plug it in and solve. I'm going to do the bottom one. So we got a -4 times 1 plus 9y equals -22, which that makes that -4. And now we can solve. Add 4. 9y equals -18. And divide by 9. And y equals -2. So, solving them all up, okay, worst case scenarios, we're going to have to multiply both of them. And then just watch out, if we have to multiply by positives, negatives, what do we need to do to make sure that one of those variables is going to cancel? All right, let's try these practice problems. So pause here and practice through these. Figure out which variable are we going to eliminate? What do we need to multiply to make that happen? And then kind of work through our process of adding the two equations together and solving for our two variables. All right, good luck. Okay, so check your work here. First one looks like we are multiplying by a -2. This one could have been solved by multiplying by a -4 as well, but I chose 2, a little bit smaller numbers, and we end up with 0, -2. And the second one looks like a pretty easy choice on multiplying by -3. And we get the answer -4, -4. All right, the third example looks like x's would be a little bit trickier, so let's just multiply by 7 and 2, especially since those plus minuses are going to cancel out without having to multiply by a negative. And the fourth one, take your pick on 3 times 5 or 4 and 6. Either one of them needs to be a negative. And again, all of your work might not be exactly the same, but we should end up with those same answers no matter how you solve. All right, guys, make sure you finish that practice assignment in Canvas, and have a great day.